Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Sir, please introduce yourself to our viewers.
My name is Olufemi Okolola. I'm a pastor. I'm a father. I've been into fashion designing, and
What is like? Give us your view about parenting.
parenting is a good job. Parenting starts from when your wife becomes pregnant, and parenting is a ministry. Let me call it a ministry ordained by God, because right from the Bible you can see from Psalm 127, as the psalmist was saying that children are like arrows in the hand of a warrior. So meaning that parenting takes a sensible parent. It means that a sensible parent must not just be giving birth to children, must have vision, must have seen something that he or she wants that child or the children to become. You don't just give birth to children for having children's sake. You don't just get married because you just want to have children, but you must have had that vision. How many children do I want? And how far do I want them to go? What do I want them to become? How do I bring them up? And things like that. And like the Bible explained about the children in the hand of the mighty warrior, that they are like arrows, meaning that you give birth to children because you have a target. Let me say it that way, because arrows are shot to hit a target. You shoot your arrow to hit target, and for such an arrow to hit that target, that means the arrow must have been sharpened, whether arrow made from stick or arrow made from iron. It must have a pointed nose that can penetrate into whatever you want to shoot it at. So parenting is not just you sitting down there giving birth to children and think that you can just send them to school. And you know, I have some friends that it's not that they have too much money, but because they want to be good parents to their children, with the little they have, they send their children to good schools because they want a better future for their children. So they have to bring out their heads together, both the father and the mother, to look at what can we do, where do we put this one, where do we put this one, how can we help this one, you know, things like that, so that you are not just anyhow parents, but you are a parent that have vision and that have the ability to pursue that vision in the life of your children.
Thank you, sir. So I would like to ask you a question. So how can we know bad parenting and good parenting?
All right. First of all, like I explained, a good parent must be the one that have vision for a child. Even if you have only girls as your children, you must be able to view, how do I bring up this? Because your children represent you, whether you like it or not. Your children are your, how do I put it, are your image. Wherever they go, whether you send them there or whatever that happens, they are your image. And I've seen some people trying to build career first before they build character. But it doesn't work like that. You have to build character first. That means in the life of a child, you must help that child to build a good character. And from that good character, career can now come out. But if you want to be just an ordinary parent, you eventually fall to the group of the bad parents, because bad parents, they themselves have no good character with which any of their children can copy. You understand me now? And if your child has nothing good to copy from you, that child will eventually be 10% better, worse than you are. You understand me now? So when we are talking about the differences between good and bad parents, first of all, it starts from their vision. The vision that a good parent has is sharper, but that of a bad parent, it doesn't have even any vision. And when you have a vision, the ability to pursue that vision must be there, to pursue it, to make it a reality. So a bad parent will not even bother to pursue any vision, whether for himself and for the child. You understand me now? Then another thing that I've seen in parenting is discipline. When you have, if you want to be a good parent, you must know how to discipline your child. There was a short video I watched where a parent, I think it's a mother, because of one thing that the child did, and no, not even that one. This one, she tied the hands of the guy, the boy, put the boy in a sack and locked him up in a cupboard. And I think the boy was there for 3 days. It was the neighbors that were asking about the boy before she eventually brought the boy out. By the time they untied the boy, he was unable to stand up on his own. Now, though that woman wants that child to become something that she has in mind, but that action is too hard on that boy. So disciplining disciplining a child is not by hitting him hard. It's not by that. There was a time I took the work I did for one customer to the house of that customer, and the woman asked the boy to come and test the cloth. The boy was watching cartoon. The boy wore the cloth. Instead of him to now remove it, when the woman had seen that the thing is fine, the boy decided not to remove it. He went back to go and sit down and be watching the cartoon. But the woman wanted him to remove the cloth. So he now said, if you don't come and remove that cloth now, I will stop the TV. And I will report you to your daddy. You know, when your daddy comes, he usually brings some things he will not give you when he comes. Immediately the boy ran. That's a discipline. You understand it now? And the boy knows that whenever he disobeys the parents, he will do something. Yes. And that one shows that when you want to discipline your child, you discipline your child in love. In love, show love to them. Let them know that you love them. You want better things for them. It's not by hitting them hard, doing this and doing that. I've seen parents sending their children out of home. They will not give them food. They will not allow the boy to come and sleep in the home because the boy has done something wrong or bad. I've seen parents, because the boy broke plates, they use the plates to put mark on the boy. Why now? Those things are too bad. That's bad parenting. That's bad parenting.
Start looking for there's also this thing that is really rampant in Nigeria, especially parents deciding the future of their kids.
Also
marriage also. So what can you talk about that phase?
Just like the topic I treated with the teenagers, we finished it last Sunday, and what I was trying to discuss with them was that every human being made, according to Genesis chapter 1 verses 26 to 31, every human being made has the image of God in him or her, and which shows that that person can create. That person has something that God has put in him to do, to act, to make things happen. He has that ability in him or her to put things down that will marvel everybody, to put things on the ground that anybody that sees it will know that surely this is a new thing. Now, it means that everybody has one thing or the other to do. My father can be a medical doctor, but that does not mean I must be a medical doctor. And at the same time, even if my father is a medical doctor and I also want to go into medicine, some things can be different from what we are doing. Like I've told you, I've been to fashion designing, but my father was also a fashion designer. You understand me now? I grew up to meet him sewing clothes, and I enjoyed staying with him. Later I developed the interest to sew, right? But when I wanted to start sewing, I discovered that my interest was into suit making. So I ventured into that one. and it helped me a lot. But it's not only suit I sew both English and native dresses. I do those ones. But I cannot now force my child to take after me because I have taken after my father. Although I have two of my children that seems to love designing, you understand me now. But you know, in this work of fashion designing, there are a lot of aspects that you can venture into. Yes, I have some designers. Okay, let me break it down into some parts. We have interior designers. They don't sew clothes. We have designers that sew curtains. We have upholsterers that sew this chairs, the clothes. Yes, they use machine now, but they don't sew clothes that we wear. So we have people that sew canopies, raincoats, umbrellas, and all those stuffs. They sew it too. They use machine. So even if I have a child that wants to go into designing, if any of my children decided to go to this side or this side, I don't have any problem to disturb. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that a parent should not be the one forcing a career on a child only because you love that career. I've heard of a mother saying that the boy must become an accountant because he wants the boy to work in the bank. Does all accountants work in the bank?
No,
they
not
don't.
even in this era.
So you as a parent should not force your child, force a career on your child. Likewise, marital aspects too. Now, what I'm trying to say in essence is that a good parent must be able to pray his or her way through for the future of that boy or that girl. Why am I saying this is that what God has in store for everyone are different though. We have had men that are so cool, so gentle, they don't create any violence or. But if such a man marries a cool person like him, something may go.
Something is bound to go wrong.
Yes. So I'm not saying that if such a man marries a good person, life will not be good.
One question. You know, as kids, as your children, you know there are some certain things we do, like that are really annoying. And like there are sometimes you just like I have siblings, so like I kind of have an idea of like my siblings are they can be annoying that you like anything you see around you just want to hit them. Yeah. So like in that kind of aspect, when you get angry at your child, like what you just do to calm yourself, like just like oh please be still.
Even God gets angry, but it's just that He gives time for repentance. He allows us to. God knows that we can fumble, we can falter, we can do many things against His plan. But yet, in His nature, in God's nature, there is forgiveness, there is mercy. According to Hebrews chapter 12, from verse 4 downwards, it's talking about discipline. And it says that God disciplines us because He loves us. And He chastises us because He has chosen us to be His sons. Now, if I take Him as my son, listen now, because okay, maybe I should start from this place. Parenting can be into three parts. We can have biological parents, we can have adopted, yes, parents that adopt children. What do you call it? The other one, foster parents. However it comes, the parent has to be a parent. Now, if I have him as my son, it's not that because he's my son, he will always please me. Are you getting it now? It's not that he will always please me. Even God, you don't please him always. Yet, God is still God. Yet, he still shows his love to us. You understand it now? So that means that whatever he does, I must first of all take it as a parent to see him as somebody that can misbehave. Are you getting me now? So, and because he misbehaves does not mean I must not discipline him. Now, one thing that I've been trying to do, but I'm just thinking of if I still have another chance to talk to some parents because of some things that I used to see their character towards their children, that even apart from your children, if anybody offends you, first thing you must have in mind is you must not go against God. I'm speaking as a Christian now. You must not go against God, because first thing, if you go against God, it does not matter the person that offends you, God will be angry. You understand me now? It does not matter the person that offends you, whether your child, whether your wife, whether your husband, because God is seeing everything that happens. In fact, the first thing that God sees about you is your heart. Now, if anybody now does something wrong, any of my children, I have a way of disciplining them.
One last question before we round up. So, there are sometimes parents, for one, when they offend their kids, African parents, Nigerian parents, when they offend their kids, they feel reluctant to apologize. They believe it is not, how would I put that in English? It is not right, or it's not meant to be. Yeah, like like a doctrine. If you offend your child, you are not meant to. You have no right to apologize. Your child is meant to apologize. So in situations whereby you offended your child, within you can feel your conscience pricking you that, oh, what you did to this child is not good, and he or she doesn't deserve it. What would you do? Do you apologize, or do you just maneuver your way and
like you said, African and even Nigerian parents, that's the way they do things. The Bible says that we should not annoy our children. We should not make them be annoyed. They themselves, they have their own soul, they have their own emotions. And although between me and my children, there's a way we communicate. One of the things that makes me not to feel too hard on my children is that they are the understanding type. You understand me now? They are the understanding type. Whatever happens, they quickly understand. So between me and it was my daughter that this thing has happened before. Between me and my daughter, I think my second daughter, Aburewa. There was a day I beat her, and now discovered that she was not the one that committed the offense, but I've beaten her. She was trying to explain, she was crying. I said, "You mean you are not the one that did it?" She said, "I'm not the one that did it." Now I'm so afraid that I'm sorry. I'm not the type. He said, yes, okay, I'm sorry. And me to tell her that I'm sorry, make her own head to swear. So she laughed. She laughed. That day, she said, okay, what do you want to give me now? At least you have offended me. What do you want to give me now? I said, okay, what do you want? I think I gave her like 100 naira that day to buy something. So what I'm trying to say is that it's not, we are not all that perfect, that we must do everything right, especially when it comes to relationship with our children. But even because I would not like any parent to create enmity in the heart of his or her child, because once the thing happens, because there are some things we do, when we do it the first time, the second time, the third time, the child will take it as your habit. And once the child takes it as your habit, it will be hard for that person, for that child to forgive you. Because when you continue doing it like that, he or she may not forgive you. And if he doesn't forgive you, it will be hard for you to receive his mercy. You understand me now? So for every parent, I would advise that, first of all, let's build a cordial relationship between ourselves and our children. Let's build a cordial relationship, a loving relationship. So that even if anything happens, if you, by mistake you do something wrong towards that child will quickly understand that my daddy or my mommy does not want to do that. It's a mistake. That would be that.
Sir, thank you very much, sir. So I would like you to give our parents advice, especially parents who show love to one child than the other, who are always showing favoritism among their kids, and which is always causing the relationship between those kids to falter. Like it's always creating hatred between those kids, and on the long run, in future, it affects them.
It will.
And also parents that don't accept to listen to their children.
That's a bad thing.
Just to conclude.
Okay. First of all, let me advise parents that you should not do favorism between your children. Even because there can be a child that is more smarter than the other, and you can have the one that is more enterprising, the one that knows how to make money, that knows how to maneuver, go here and there and make things happen. But yet that does not mean the one that does not know how to do that is bad. That does not mean that one is bad. Because what you see today is what you are working on. You don't know what will happen tomorrow. Because the child that you see that is not enterprising enough, is not smart enough, you don't know what will come out of that child tomorrow, who the child will turn to tomorrow. But one thing you must do is that make sure you balance the love between the two. I don't know the number of children you may have, just make sure you balance the love between them so that they will not see themselves as rivals. As it happened in the house of Jacob, they will not see themselves as rivals. And more so, we must not force anything on our children, whether career or marital mates and things like that. We should not force it on them. And like I used to tell parents, because these days, the highest number of years with which you and your children can live together is 18 or 19. By the time at most when the child is 19, she goes to higher institution, forget it. The child may not come back home at all. He or she may not come back home. So whatever you have not built in between those years, you have no time to build it again. If you have not built cordial relationship between yourself and your children, if you have not built cordial relationship between the siblings, if you have not built a good relationship that you and your children will be able to discuss issues and things like this is how I think it, how do you feel, even in our morning devotion, when we are discussing it, I allow them to bring their inputs. What do you think? What do you understand about this? What is this? And that is how to bring cordial relationship in the family. If you allow this one to talk, you allow them. As more as you see them, they have understanding. And whatever they can bring, you can help them to develop it, to add more to it. And before you know it, that child will be happy for saying something, for you allowing him to say something, and what you have added to it, he will be happy for it. And when next you want him to talk, you ask him, he will be happy to talk. And not only that, when he gets to the outside world, whether in the working atmosphere, he will not be feeling shy of bringing out his or her own opinion, because he or she has been allowed back at home. So when he or she gets there, he will not feel shy, he will not feel burdened, or how do I put it, he will not feel being bullied, so that he will not be able to express his feelings. Nothing like that will happen to him. He will be happy with himself and happy with others. And such a thing must have been built from the home.
Thank you very much for coming. Really appreciate you. If any of our viewers have some questions,
To send them to you.
yeah,
Thank you very much, sir. So we've come to the end of the show, and this is my lovely host Oluwatobiloba AOJ, and I am your lovely favorite girl. Have a nice day.